Firstly, a quick recap after I arrived. I didn't film any of this, but as soon as I cleared customs, I left for Suva. So as soon as I cleared customs, I left Nandi and came out through this passage just before dark. The wind started picking up slowly from the south, and I got a really nice breeze, about 8 to 10 knots. And wow, I was doing pretty close to 8 knots all the way along here at night. And obviously I couldn't sleep because on one side of me is reef, and then I went through this passage here at Bangor Island, and there's no way I could sleep going through there because reef both sides. And then managed to get to Suva entrance, which is here, about 3 in the morning, and I just waited out this front because there really wasn't much point coming in because there's so many wrecks and derelict boats. And even when I got in close to the yacht club and it was daylight, well, it was pretty early, but it was daylight, I nearly ran into one that was submerged at high tide. Suva is a COVID red zone and all roads out are closed. So once I arrived, I won't be allowed to leave. This is my spot at the Royal Suva Yacht Club. So I've arrived home, and the reality is it's back to work to pay for all this. The 3 videos I've uploaded to YouTube, I'd like to thank those that have subscribed and commented. I've received a lot of positive feedback, and I'd like to thank you. A quick debrief from the sail from Australia to Fiji to answer a few of the comments. COVID has added costs to the trip. With customs and all the COVID expenses, it came to around $1,500 altogether. So this is going to be a little hard to see. This is right on the stem. This is the epoxy, tube epoxy that I put in the joint there, and it's kind of worked. A little bit seeping, I think, but we're talking about a pinhole. If you look at the world, it was just like on the edge of the world with this little bit of water seeping out of it. So I don't think it's structural. I will take the boat out of the water at some point when I do the next anti-foul, and that's when I'll check it properly. But most likely I think I'll be able to fill the holes with paint. I do have a bilge pump. It's down here, 12-volt bilge pump. It all works fine, and I was using it as much as I could. But when you're sailing and you're heeling over, the water goes up the side of the boat, and it makes it too shallow where this pump picks up in the center of the boat, and eventually it won't work. So what was happening is also the boat was getting some pressure on the mast going forward, and that tends to push the bow down a little bit as well. So a little bit of the water that was here was going up there into the front. So this is the area that I was using to bail the water. Now I could have ran downwind and leveled the boat out a lot more and then got the water to the center of the boat, but because I was using the self-steerer and the autopilot was down, there would have been too much messing around trying to get the self-steerer to steer downwind during that time, and then maybe running back and forth trying to get it organized. Or I could have hand steered and turned the pump on, but in the end of the day I just decided just to keep going and probably do it the hard way by bailing. The boat has a very decent V in it. It's not a flat bottom boat, but you'll find boats that have really flat bottoms, which is nearly everything now that's designed, a lot worse. As soon as they heel and they have water in them, it's up the side of the boat, and it doesn't come back very easily unless you level the boat out. As they say, the best bilge pump is a man with a bucket. Now, I replaced the polycarbonate, but what I didn't do was I didn't put grease inside this mechanism here to open it. And when I was running, surprisingly, so much water was pouring down through there. And that's what the picture was when I showed the water coming through. It's actually coming through there. Now the seal, it looks all right, but I guess I'm going to need to go out and do a real heavy punch into the wind, find out how well that works, and if I can get this front hatch without any leaks, I'll be really happy. The autopilot works fine. It isn't broken. Is underneath that, which is the quadrant there, and this is the little extension that goes to the autopilot. The nut is underneath there. Now, when that fell off, you would think it would have fallen off into one of these compartments here, maybe the forward one, but instead it ended up right over on the other side of the boat, which I would have thought it was impossible for it to get there, but somehow it did. And I found that after I pulled all the sails out of the back on the starboard side and went over there, probably something I should have done when I was at sea. Those daggy cable ties in there, I'll cut them off later. And I'm actually going to make it a lot stronger, that whole bracket. It's going to get beefed up. But there's the rudder stock there. Looks pretty solid. Everything on this boat's pretty good. So just a brief video. The next video I'm working on is all about the boat and the improvements I'm planning to convert to a cruiser. So happy sailing.